Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. After being reborn in the 1970s, the very first thing I did was cut off the so-called life-saving debt I owed to Ethan North. In my previous life, Ethan knew I couldn't swim. Yet he still dragged me out of the water and used that as leverage to force me into marrying him. From that moment on, everything went downhill. My father, who had Parkinson's, my mother, who was suffering from leukemia, and my paralyzed younger brother, all of them became my burden alone. I slaved away in the countryside, working myself to the bone to take care of Ethan's entire family, while he took my college admission letter and went to the city with his childhood sweetheart. He used my family's resources to build his name and career. By the time I collapsed from exhaustion, so sick I was practically coughing up blood, Ethan finally told me the truth. It turned out that I hadn't fallen into the river by accident at all. He had let it happen on purpose because to him I was kind, hardworking, and the perfect person to take care of his entire family. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the very day I'd fallen into the river. By the time I came to, I was already underwater. Villagers crowded the riverbank, pointing and whispering about the girl who had fallen in. Suddenly, Ethan broke through the crowd, panic on his face as he shouted my name. "Oh my God, Emily Moon. How could you be so careless and fall into the river? Don't worry, I'm coming to save you." With a loud splash, he jumped into the water. The villagers praised him, calling him brave and selfless. But only I knew the truth. This wasn't a selfless act. He was staging it all again, just like in the past, to use this rescue as a weapon to force me into marriage. In my past life, I was pushed into the water, and before I could even process what was happening, Ethan pulled me out in front of the whole village. Our soaked, clinging bodies led to gossip and judgment. Within half an hour, everyone was talking about it. Rumors spread like wildfire, and I was left with no choice. I had to marry him. From that day on, I became a servant to his entire family. I regretted over and over again that I didn't know how to swim when I was pushed into that river. But now that fate had given me a second chance, I was going to make it count. There were too many eyes on me for me to resurface right away. Luckily, in my past life, I eventually learned how to swim. As Ethan leapt in with his dramatic act, I turned quietly underwater and hid at the bottom of the river. While Ethan thrashed around, pretending to look for me, I waited for the perfect moment, then shot up and wrapped my thighs tightly around his waist with all my strength. Caught completely off guard, Ethan choked and sputtered, coughing up river water. He slapped at my legs in panic. His face twisted in pain, motioning for me to let go. But I didn't. I tightened my hold even more. In less than a minute, he couldn't take it. He began dragging me toward the riverbank, struggling to breathe. But I knew if he managed to pull me to shore with our bodies pressed together again, the villagers would see everything. The nightmare of my previous life would repeat. So, I made a ruthless decision. I pinched his nose shut, forcing his mouth open. Water rushed into his lungs. Ethan started to pass out, flailing desperately. As he tore me off him, he grabbed me by the throat. His face turned monstrous, like a demon crawling straight out of hell. I fought him with everything I had. I reached down, grabbed a sharp rock from the riverbed, and smashed it into his head. Blood rose to the surface. The villagers gasped in shock. "Oh my God, what's happening underwater? Why is there blood?" Clutching his bleeding head, Ethan shot me a murderous glare before turning and heading toward the shore. I followed him closely. The moment I climbed out of the river, I hugged myself tightly and broke into sobs. "Ethan North, you bastard. What the hell were you doing under the water trying to grope me?" His expression darkened, but he quickly pulled himself together. Putting on his usual innocent face, he said, "Emily, what are you talking about? I jumped in to save you. I didn't think you'd fight me like that. And now you're accusing me of something so awful. Even after I tried to help you, I can't believe you'd twist my kindness like this." He looked so wounded, so innocent. If I hadn't lived through my previous life, I might have believed him again. But Linda Yates, who had always had a crush on Ethan, saw the wound on his head and immediately rushed to his defense. Her voice shrill with rage, she yelled, "Ethan saved your life, and this is how you repay him? How dare you? You're so ungrateful." I rolled my eyes at her. Then Ethan put on a look of indignation as if he had been wronged and tried to defend himself. But I could swim. Why would I need saving? He insisted on jumping in to rescue me. Besides, we had never even spoken to each other before. What right did he have to interfere? Even worse, we were still underwater. Who knows what he was trying to do? If I hadn't been smart enough to fight back, he might have taken advantage of me in front of everyone. And once we were pulled out of the river together, no one would have believed me. I would have been ruined. Linda Yates, furious, snapped at me. What nonsense are you spouting? Ethan isn't that kind of person. But I didn't listen. Instead, I acted like I was so humiliated, I couldn't take it anymore. I threw myself toward a rock, pretending I was going to hit my head on it, but the villagers rushed forward and stopped me. I cried loudly, letting out all my emotions, and took the chance to ask the question that had been burning inside me. How am I making this up? There were so many people on the shore. None of you even knew who had fallen into the river. So, why did Ethan call out my name right away? I suspect he's the one who pushed me in. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I want to report this to the police, I continued. Let them investigate who would be so heartless, so deranged to harm someone who came from the city to help here. The villagers were stunned. Reporting someone to the police was no small matter in this era. Even if the investigation cleared Ethan's name, just being associated with something like this could ruin his reputation. Right now, Ethan was working as a teacher at the village elementary school thanks to his high school diploma. His reputation meant everything to him. Ethan's face turned pale. Even Lena Jiang, who had been hiding in the crowd, started to panic. The village chief, not wanting to see Ethan's future destroyed right before his eyes, stepped forward and asked Ethan to apologize to me. Linda Yates still tried to argue on his behalf, but Ethan raised a hand to stop her. Holding his injured head, he put on his most pitiful expression and apologized. I'm really sorry. I didn't expect that saving someone could turn into all this trouble. Emily Moon, I'm sorry. I promise. Next time I see you fall into the river, I won't save you. His sarcastic tone was unmistakable. I sneered and stared him down. You'd better mean it. And don't even think about pulling any more dirty tricks behind my back. After staying underwater too long, I started coughing. Some of the other girls from the youth center helped me back to our dorm. As I walked away, I could feel Ethan's burning gaze on my back. I knew he now held a grudge against me. Back in the familiar dorm of the youth center, memories of my past life came flooding in. After being forced to marry Ethan, I spent my days working like a beast of burden. A year later, when college entrance exams were reinstated, I passed. I was supposed to go to university. But Ethan said, "You're my wife. You need to stay and take care of my parents. What's the point of going to college?" He even told me to give my admission letter to Lena, saying, "She's helped us so much over the years." And just like that, my spot at university was handed over to his precious childhood sweetheart. Both of them went off to college, leaving me behind to play housekeeper and nurse for his entire sick family. I worked in silence for decades, never complaining until the day I lay dying. Only then did Ethan visit me and reveal the truth. He admitted everything. I hadn't fallen into the water by accident. He had planned it all along. His family was riddled with illness, and he couldn't bear to let Lena marry into that misery. So he chose me instead, a kind, hard-working girl, and staged a rescue to force me into marrying him. The more I thought about the pain I endured in my last life, the more I wanted to tear Ethan apart. But I had something even more important than revenge now: the college entrance exams. In my last life, I managed to pass the exam even after getting married and burdened by all those responsibilities. This time, without any of that baggage, I would do even better. A few days later, one of the girls in my dorm hesitantly told me that rumors were spreading through the village. People are saying you fell into the river on purpose just to trap Ethan into marrying you. They're saying the reason you hit him was because you tried to seduce him underwater. And when he rejected you, you got angry and attacked him. Then you made up lies to smear his name. The moment I heard it, I knew exactly what was happening. These weren't just wild rumors. They were Ethan's tactics, trying to force me into marrying him again, just like last time. After his so-called rescue, a group of villagers suddenly started gossiping about me. The pressure was so intense that I eventually caved and married him. But this time, I had lived a full life once already. I knew now. Rumors aren't the scary part. The only thing that matters is staying true to myself. As long as I don't waver, no one can use them to destroy me. But Linda Yates was clearly jealous. After finishing work that day, she came back with a bitter face and in front of everyone, snapped at me with a cold, sarcastic tone. I really thought you didn't have any interest in Ethan. Turns out you're just shameless. You'll do anything to marry him, won't you? Don't act like a saint after playing the whore, Linda Yates sneered. If you're so obsessed with Ethan North that you're willing to scheme your way into marrying him, then stop pretending to be some innocent victim. I let out a cold laugh and told her to repeat what she just said. That only made Linda more smug. She raised her voice and snapped. I said, Emily Moon, you have no shame. A woman like you who's so good at seducing men. I don't know what kind of trash raised you. No wonder they sent you out to the countryside. It's to force you to change your ways and recognize your mistakes. She hadn't even finished talking when my palm landed square across her face. Stunned, Linda clutched her cheek and screamed as she lunged at me. You hit me, you shameless. How dare you hit me? I'll kill you. Our roommates from the youth center quickly held her back. I glared at her and warned sharply. If you can't speak like a decent person, then shut your mouth. Don't think we don't all know the truth. You're the one who wants to marry Ethan North. I don't like him and I'll never marry him. Say something like that again, and I'll slap you every single time. Linda was practically shaking with rage. Fine, I admit it. I like Ethan North. So what? At least I like him openly and honestly. If it weren't for your shameless tricks, he would have chosen me. Everyone knew he was supposed to marry me, not you. I curled my lip into a cold smirk. You really think Ethan North would marry you? You think he hangs around you so much because he actually likes you? Wake up. If it weren't for your family's money and food stamps, he wouldn't give you a second glance. Linda was absolutely livid, just about to scream another rebuttal when Lena Jiang walked in. She came straight to me, grabbed my arm with a bright smile, and said, What's going on in here? Why is everyone so worked up? No one answered. Lena quickly clung to my arm again and pouted playfully. Emily, I brought you a little gift. Seriously though, why didn't you tell us you and Ethan North were almost engaged? What? Are we not good enough country folks to be included? Her tone was laced with poison, acting like my engagement to Ethan had already been confirmed. I yanked my arm away, sneered, and shot back. What the hell are you talking about? Who said I was getting engaged to Ethan North? Lena covered her mouth and giggled. Oh, come on. The whole village knows Ethan caught a cold from jumping into the river to save you. He can't even get out of bed. And you know what they say. When someone saves your life, you repay them with your heart. Don't be so shy, Emily. Just make sure to invite me to the wedding. As she spoke, I caught movement from the corner of my eye. Ethan North was standing right outside the door. A plan instantly formed in my mind. I realized that if I so much as blushed right now, they'd take that as a sign and seal the deal between me and Ethan. So I spat, as if that toad actually thinks he can have a swan. Has Ethan even looked in a mirror? He's not even in the same league as me. I lifted my chin and continued without mercy. I'll go back to the city eventually. What does Ethan have aside from a bedridden brother? And don't forget all the dirty rumors about him fooling around with different girls. How could someone like that ever deserve me? Lena hadn't expected me to say that and looked stunned. Flustered, she shouted, That's nonsense. Ethan's not that kind of person. I immediately countered. Oh really? If he wasn't running around messing with girls, then why is Linda Yates into him? Why are you so close to him all the time? Lena's face paled. She tried to hold her ground. What are you even saying? Ethan's like a big brother to me. I'm his little sister. I scoffed. A sister with no blood relation, huh? Lena's face turned bright red. Under the curious, judgmental stares of the other residents in the dorm, she burst into tears and ran out. Linda didn't even understand what just happened, and was still trying to defend Ethan. I turned to her coldly. If you like him that much, then marry him yourself. But if you say another word of slander, I'll report you to the higher-ups. We'll see how you explain coming to the countryside just to get involved in some man-woman nonsense." Linda immediately shut her mouth in fear. Outside the door, Ethan North had disappeared. But just before he left, I caught a glimpse of the vicious glare he gave me through the window. Ever since I publicly humiliated Ethan North, the two of us had stayed out of each other's way for the next several months. That was until one day Ethan suddenly decided to throw a big banquet for his birthday. It came out of nowhere. Lena Zhang personally came to the youth center to invite all of us. Ethan said, "This kind of feast doesn't happen often in our village." She told us cheerfully, "He wants all the youth volunteers to attend." In the 1970s, throwing a banquet was already unusual, let alone for something as ordinary as a birthday. I immediately sensed something was off and was just about to refuse when Lena quickly added, "Especially you, Emily Moon. You absolutely have to come. Ethan will definitely drink a couple extra toasts for you as an apology for everything in the past." Even the others at the center encouraged me to go, leaving me no real way to get out of it. I had no choice but to agree. Sure enough, on the day of the banquet, I knew something was wrong the moment I arrived. When Lena handed me a cup of wine, her face was full of fake kindness, but I could smell a faint medicinal scent coming from the cup she placed in front of me. Linda Yates, standing nearby, didn't like how attentively Lena was treating me and tried to snatch the wine away. Lena's face turned cold as she snapped at her. "This was prepared especially for Emily. Don't touch it." Right then, I was almost certain the drink had been tampered with. So when Lena tried to force it on me, I pretended to stumble and fell onto her. She lost her grip, and both wine cups slipped from her hands. But just before they hit the ground, I reached out and caught them both smoothly. I raised my head and smiled politely. "Sorry about that," I said. Before Lena could erupt in anger, I took the chance to secretly swap the cups. After she drank the wine, Lena never took her eyes off me. I pretended to feel weak and leaned on her for support, saying I felt unwell and needed to leave. Her eyes lit up instantly. Without giving me a choice, she grabbed my arm and started dragging me toward Ethan North's bedroom. "If you're not feeling well, then don't leave," she said sweetly. "There's space. You can rest here." The moment she shoved me onto Ethan's bed, I understood everything. They had set me up. I couldn't believe how shameless they were. This was their plan all along. Lena didn't even leave the room. She looked down at me, gloating. "Once you've slept with him, let's see what you can do then. What choice will you have except to marry Ethan North? And once you do, I'll make sure he makes your life hell. That's what you get for going against me." I was burning with rage. As soon as Lena turned her head, I opened my eyes and struck her across the back of the neck, knocking her out cold. Her body was already beginning to heat up uncontrollably. I didn't want to see anything filthy, so I prepared to sneak out, only to be stopped by Linda Yates. Well, Emily Moon," she said with a smug grin. "I knew you were lying before. You're clearly into Ethan North. Be honest. What were you doing in his room just now? Something indecent, I bet. If you don't tell me, I'll spread the word about your little secret." Faced with her threat, I rolled my eyes. If she was walking straight into her own downfall, I wasn't going to stop her. I faked a guilty expression and told her I'd confess a secret, then lured her into Ethan's bedroom. While she was distracted, I knocked her out too. Then I left immediately, made a casual round through the village, greeted a few people to create an alibi, and circled back to Ethan's house. When I returned, Ethan's parents were standing right outside his bedroom, yelling at the top of their lungs. "You shameless little tramp," his mother screeched. "Daring to seduce my son in broad daylight like this. Just wait till you come out. I'll beat you to death." Faking total innocence, I suddenly spoke up. "Who are you yelling at?" Ethan's parents jumped in shock. "Why are you here?" they asked, startled. I raised my eyebrows. "Why wouldn't I be? Where else would I be?" They stammered, unable to answer, clearly confused. And then a commotion erupted from inside the room. Two girls fighting, screaming over each other. "You disgusting. Stay away from Ethan. Get out. Get out now. Ethan, I don't feel good. Ethan." My eyes went wide and I covered my mouth in mock horror. "Oh my God, What on earth is happening in there? Just then, the front door burst open. Someone from the crowd had kicked it in to get a better look. Inside the room, Lena Jiang and Linda Yates were fighting over Ethan North. Lena's face was flushed, her eyes unfocused, her body moving restlessly. Her hands were all over herself, constantly reaching toward Ethan, trying to cling to him. In contrast, Linda was fully conscious, doing everything she could to protect Ethan's innocence. She kept pulling at Lena, shouting at her to stay away from him. Unfortunately, Ethan clearly favored Lena. Not only did he not appreciate Linda's efforts, but when Linda shoved Lena to push her away and caused her to fall to the floor, Ethan lashed out at Linda. "Who the hell do you think you are? What gives you the right to lay a hand on Lena?" Linda stumbled backward, landing hard on the floor. Her face was streaked with tears as she cried out, her voice shaking. "What are you saying, Ethan? Why are you defending her and turning on me? What about all the promises you made to me in private? That you would marry me? Were those all lies? Or is what Emily said true? That you only came close to me for my money?" I fanned the flames from the side. "Come on, Linda. Can't you see it? He's made his intentions perfectly clear." Ethan backed into a corner, turned to me in fury. "Emily Moon, this is all you're doing, isn't it? You've been scheming behind my back. I can't believe how vile you are, stooping this low just to get me, even if it means hurting 2 other innocent girls." He pointed at me and raged on. "Lena just told me earlier. You sneaked into my room trying to sleep with me, trying to make it look like we had something so I'd be forced to marry you. And now that your little plan fell apart, you're trying to frame others and drag them down with you. How can you be so cruel?" I stared at him, unimpressed, then rolled my eyes. "Oh, which eye of yours saw me sneaking into your room? Do you have any proof? If not, then you're slandering me. And slandering someone is a crime. I'm a lightweight." I left the banquet before it even officially started to go for a walk. Plenty of people in the village saw me. They can testify. You, a high school graduate, a village teacher, accusing a girl without any evidence. That's what you call shameless. Ethan trembled with rage. His fingers shook as he pointed at my face, but he couldn't get a word out. Meanwhile, Lena, now fully flushed, began tearing at her clothes again and crawled toward Ethan. He quickly shielded her and wrapped her in his arms, holding her tight. I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, isn't she supposed to be your little sister? What kind of brother holds his sister like that in front of everyone?" Ethan snapped, his voice breaking. "You evil woman. I'm just trying to protect her honor. How could you twist our pure sibling bond like this?" I snorted. "Oh right. You're always rescuing people, aren't you? You must be the reincarnation of the goddess of mercy herself. But forgive me if I've never seen a brother-sister pair hugging half-naked in public." I gave him a look of mock concern. "You're a teacher, Ethan. A public figure. Maybe focus on straightening out your messy relationships first, especially since Linda's still waiting for you to marry her." His face turned red with anger. I widened my eyes and said with fake surprise, "Wait, don't tell me you never planned to marry her." I grabbed Linda's hand. "Let's go report him to the police. He took your money, your food stamps, all of it for his family. That's basically buying lives. And if he refuses to marry you now, how's he any different from a con man or a predator? If this got out, it could get him executed. Don't worry, I'll help you. I'll stand with you." Maybe it was the rage finally boiling over. Or maybe she had truly seen through him. But Linda didn't resist. She didn't say a word. She just followed me out the door. The moment we stepped outside, Ethan panicked. But with Lena still clinging to him, flushed and moaning, he couldn't break free to come after us. Watching us walk away, seeing that we were serious about going to the police, he finally caved. His voice trembled as he called out, "Fine, fine. I'll marry you, Linda. Please just don't go to the police." Linda instantly lit up with joy. She dropped my hand and ran off in a rush, eager to tell her parents and brother the good news. Her family wasn't easy to fool. They cared deeply for her. Even if they'd reluctantly let her come to the countryside, they'd still given her generous amounts of money and food, and visited her often. That was exactly why Ethan had chosen her in the first place. Meanwhile, Lena lay in Ethan's arms, letting out a string of suggestive breathing moans. Ethan North rushed off in a panic, carrying Lena Jang in his arms toward the village clinic. I nudged one of the village gossip aunties and urged her to follow. Go on, make sure to keep a close eye on them. When a grown man and a young woman get tangled up like that, sparks are bound to fly. Even if they say they're siblings, can you really expect them to resist temptation? The auntie's eyes lit up at the idea, and she immediately followed after them. With the most notorious gossip in the village trailing behind them, Lena's reputation was officially done for. Watching them disappear down the road, I smirked coldly. The real drama was just beginning. In the end, Linda still got engaged to Ethan North. Word had it that when Lena woke up in the clinic and heard the news, she fainted again on the spot. But Linda this time wasn't the same soft-spoken girl from my last life who let others walk all over her. She clearly despised the way Ethan and Lena clung to each other. As his fiancée, she immediately demanded he keep his distance from Lena. But Ethan didn't just refuse. He slapped Linda across the face twice and coldly warned her, "Lena is my sister. In my heart, she matters more than you ever will." That same night, Linda's older brother drove all the way to the village and beat Ethan to a pulp. To make things worse, the village gossip couldn't keep her mouth shut. She told everyone about what she saw. How close Ethan and Lena were. How tightly they held each other. Closer than most married couples in the village, calling him her brother. Might as well call him her lover. Because of how far the scandal spread and how bad the impression was, Ethan lost his job as a teacher. Lena's reputation was destroyed too. Many of the boys in the village had liked her and often helped her with labor without complaint. After this, no one helped her anymore. They all looked at her with scornful, mocking eyes. The village women with sons openly cursed her and warned their boys never to go near her again. Lena, humiliated, shut herself in and didn't step outside the house again. None of that had anything to do with me. During that time, I went to the fields as scheduled every day and studied hard every night after returning to the youth center. Finally, about a month later, the news came that the college entrance exam system had been restored. I was thrilled and threw myself into studying with even more focus and determination. Then one day, while I was walking alone on the road after work, someone suddenly covered my mouth and dragged me into the wheat field. A man tried to force a kiss on me. I could feel his hot breath on my face. It made me sick to my stomach. Luckily, I had never let my guard down. I pulled out the sickle I'd kept with me and swung it hard. A scream pierced the sky. I looked up to see blood streaming down the man's arm. He stumbled back, scrambling away from me. It was Ethan North. He stared at me, his expression dark, but suddenly a twisted smile spread across his face. "Emily Moon, you came back too, didn't you?" My heart skipped a beat. I narrowed my eyes at him, instantly on alert, pretending not to understand. "What the hell are you talking about?" Ethan sneered. "Drop the act. I know you came back too. If you hadn't, how else would you suddenly know how to swim? If not for that, we'd already be married by now. You'd already be mine." Just hearing him say those words sent a chill down my spine. I spat at him. "Keep dreaming." But instead of getting angry, he acted like he was moved. He even reached for my hand. "Emily," he said softly. "Curse me all you want. I deserve it. I was the one who wronged you in our last life. It was all my fault. I didn't treasure you when I had the chance. After you died, I realized how hard it is to take care of a whole family. Linda Yates never truly loved me. After you were gone, I asked her to look after my parents, and she ran off with all my money and property after just 1 month. That's when I realized how good you were to me. The only woman I've ever truly loved is you." He took a step closer, his voice thick with emotion. "I regret it all so much. Thank God we've been given a second chance. I'll make it up to you. I swear I will. I'll fix everything I ruined in our past life." His so-called confession made my skin crawl. What love? This wasn't love. He just realized he'd lost his free housemaid and wanted to lure me back into his trap. As he stepped toward me, I snapped. I slashed at his hand with my sickle, shouting, "So, this is your idea of love? Keeping me in the countryside to care for your family while handing my college admission letter over to Linda Yates? Am I supposed to just stand by and watch the two of you live happily ever after?" I spat. "You selfish, disgusting animal. You have no right to bring up the past. The only thing I regret is ever meeting you. Getting entangled with you like filth. Ethan North's face twisted with rage. All the fake gentleness he'd been putting on disappeared in an instant. His expression turned savage as he tried to grab me and shouted, "You're my woman. Even if I had to relive this life 100 times, I would never let you cut ties with me. You're my wife. You're supposed to stay by my side forever and take care of my parents. Don't even think about running away." I turned and ran. While sprinting down the path, I shouted at the top of my lungs, "Help! Someone's trying to assault me." The nearby villagers, always eager to intervene, came rushing over. Ethan panicked and disappeared before they could spot him, but just before vanishing into the trees, he turned back and shouted with hatred, "Emily Moon, I won't let you get away with this. You just wait." I stared coldly in the direction he left. "Funny," I muttered. "I was going to say the same thing to you." After that day, I made sure to never walk alone. I always returned from the fields with the other youth center volunteers. Ethan had no chance to get close again. I did spot him lurking nearby a few times, creeping behind walls or hiding in corners, but he never dared approach when people were around. Each time I saw him, I'd pull Linda Yates aside for a little chat, just loud enough for others to hear. Strange, isn't it? I'd say, "Ethan's your fiancé, but every time he shows up, he never talks to you. Why is that?" And then I'd add casually, "I heard Ethan's planning to take the college entrance exam. What if he gets in and dumps you? Don't forget how close he and Lena Jang are. If they both get into college, where does that leave you? Are you really going to let her walk all over you like that?" After hearing things like that a few times, Linda began to feel the pressure. Her anxiety grew stronger by the day, and finally, she decided to marry Ethan before the exam. Ethan resisted. Furious, he ran to the youth center when no one was around and confronted Lena. "Is this your doing?" he growled. "Did you tell Emily to stir up trouble? You know damn well that the only one I love is you. You're my real wife. It was never supposed to be anyone else." That just so happened to be the time when everyone was finishing up their fieldwork. The others were already on their way back. I stepped into the courtyard, heard his voice, and immediately shouted, "What? Ethan North, are you saying you actually love Lena Jang? That you're sick of Linda Yates clinging to you, and want my help getting rid of her? How could you say something so heartless after everything she's done for you?" My voice was loud. Everyone from the youth center heard it. So did the villagers outside. Linda ran in, eyes full of tears, and screamed, "Ethan, just wait. I don't care what you say anymore. We're getting married now." With only 7 days left until the college entrance exam, Ethan and Linda got married. Her brother grabbed Ethan by the collar and dragged him to register the marriage, threatening to report him for sexual misconduct if he didn't go through with it. After that, Linda moved into Ethan's house openly and proudly. With her finally off my back, I could focus entirely on studying. The exam day arrived fast. At the testing site, Ethan and Lena showed up together. Ethan looked like hell. Rumor had it that after marrying Linda, she forced him to do all the housework, never let him read, and would have her brother beat him anytime she was upset. Lena's family was already trying to arrange a marriage for her, but her reputation was so bad, the only men willing to consider her were either mentally challenged or already widowed. She refused to marry any of them. This exam was her last chance to change her fate. After the test, I was confident. When the results came out, I wasn't surprised. I had the highest score in the city. The villagers were thrilled for me. Everyone celebrated except for Ethan and Lena, who looked like they wanted to kill me. Everything that had happened before the exam had completely derailed them. Their scores were so low, there was no way they could get into any university. When I found out my results, I knew this wasn't over. Ethan wouldn't let me go so easily. So, when I calculated the timing and realized the university acceptance letters would be arriving soon, I quietly went into town early and waited. When the admission notice from Beijing University finally arrived, I picked it up myself and carefully swapped it with a fake letter I had prepared in advance. I hid the real one and mailed the fake back to the village. Then I strutted into the village square, holding the fake letter with pride, showing it off to everyone. "Ethan, who had never seen an actual admission letter from Beijing University, completely bought it. His eyes turned green with envy. Linda, however, seemed quite satisfied that Ethan had failed his college exam. She even came to gloat. "Well," she said smugly, "now he's stuck with me for life. He's not going anywhere." I smiled and played along, waiting patiently for things to unfold. Sure enough, just 2 days later, the fake college admission letter I had left at home suddenly disappeared. I immediately put on a devastated expression and rushed to tell the villagers. "My acceptance letter is gone." Everyone was shocked. The whole village mobilized to help me look for it. The village chief questioned me seriously. "Who has been inside your house over the past few days?" I put on a hesitant face. "Besides the youth center folks, only Lena Jiang has come by recently." Everyone at the center had already passed their exams. None of them would have any reason to touch my letter. The only suspicious person was Lena. In an instant, every kind of stare landed on her. Lena's face turned bright red with anger. She exploded. "Emily Moon, you're slandering me. When did I ever steal your letter? Yes, I did stop by the youth center recently, but I was there to see someone else. I never even saw your admission letter." I looked distressed, eyes filled with tears. Then I really don't know what to say. Everyone knows how important that letter is to me. Without it, my future's ruined. If you want to prove your innocence, there's only one thing to do. Let the village search your house. Otherwise, I'll have no choice but to report this to the police. Reporting it to the authorities was a much bigger deal than a house search. So, even though Lena looked like she'd swallowed a lemon, she had no choice but to agree. During the search, Linda Yates and Ethan North showed up, acting like they were just there to watch the excitement. Linda, of course, couldn't help fanning the flames. I always knew Lena wasn't as innocent as she pretended. Now she's even stealing from people. Shameless. Ethan's face was darker than storm clouds. He even looked a little nervous. The village chief led the search personally. It didn't take long before someone found the missing letter tucked away in Lena's bedroom. The chief's expression turned grave. "What more do you have to say for yourself?" Lena snatched the letter out of his hands, staring at it in disbelief. Her whole body shook with panic. "It wasn't me. I swear it wasn't me," she cried, her voice cracking. "Emily, I didn't take your letter. I really didn't. You can't call the police, please. If you do that, how am I supposed to live the rest of my life? What will I do?" She sobbed even louder. "The proof is right in front of everyone. If it wasn't you, then who was it? Everyone knows you didn't get into college. You were jealous. No one else would have done something like this. Just admit it already. Go accept your punishment. Maybe you'll come back reformed someday." Lena's face twisted in despair. She suddenly lunged at Ethan and screamed, "You did this, didn't you? It was you who stole the letter and planted it in my room. You're the only one who's been in and out of my house lately." She was hysterical, pointing at him as she shouted, "You told me before, remember? You said someone like Emily didn't deserve her grades. You said she wasn't worthy of college. And you said if I could get that letter back for you, you'd go in her place." Ethan broke into a cold sweat. Without warning, he slapped Lena across the face. His hands were shaking, but he still yelled furiously, "Shut your damn mouth. Don't you dare make up lies like that. You're just jealous and greedy. Now you want to drag me down too." He looked around, breathing heavily, then turned to the village chief, eyes filled with righteous fury. "Chief, someone like her has no place in our village. Thieves like this only bring shame to our community. I suggest we hand her over to the police before she spreads even more lies." Lena's legs gave out. She collapsed to the ground, sobbing. "You hit me," she whispered in disbelief. "You're really hitting me all over a piece of paper? You're going to send me to the police for that?" Her voice broke completely. "Ethan, I gave you everything. I ruined my reputation for you. Now I can't even get married, and this is how you treat me? Do you even have a conscience?" Someone in the crowd muttered. "If he had a conscience, he wouldn't have done half the disgusting things he's already done. He's about to have you thrown in jail." Someone muttered to Lena, "And you're still trying to defend him?" Lena suddenly burst into manic laughter. With a loud thud, she dropped to her knees in front of the village chief and clung to him, sobbing as she admitted, I did it. It was me. But Ethan North was the one who told me to. She pointed at him, trembling. If you're going to arrest me, then you have to arrest him too. He was behind it. Even if I go to jail, I'm taking him down with me. Then she turned to Ethan, her smile chilling. Don't think you can get rid of me that easily. If I go down, I'm dragging you with me, dead or alive. The two of them had completely turned on each other. Ethan clearly never expected Lena to go this far. He was stunned. She'd rather admit to the crime than let him walk away. What proof do you have that I told you to do it? He snapped. We barely even talk. Chief, don't listen to her. She's lying. I had nothing to do with this. Linda Yates quickly jumped in to defend him too. Exactly. My man is a good person. He's been busy helping people every day. There's no way he'd do something this disgusting. Lena's just trying to frame him because she got caught. Chief, you have to get to the bottom of this and clear my man's name. The village chief looked troubled, clearly unsure how to handle the situation. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, Lena cut him off. Holding her stomach, she gave a twisted smile. Who says I don't have proof? This baby in my belly is proof enough. She stared straight at Ethan. I'm pregnant and it's yours. Only then did people begin to notice the faint swell of her belly. The crowd gasped in shock. Linda completely lost it. She leapt up and slapped Ethan across the face twice. You bastard, she screamed. You told me she was just your sister. Then what the hell is this? You better start talking. What the hell is this baby? Ethan's face turned ghostly pale. Even if they couldn't prove he ordered Lena to steal the letter, the fact that he was sleeping around while already married was more than enough to destroy his future for good. The village chief's face darkened with fury. Unbelievable. You people had the nerve to do this behind our backs. If I'd known earlier, I would have dragged you both to the authorities myself. Enough. Take them to the police station right now. This kind of behavior cannot be tolerated. Ethan panicked and tried to beg for mercy. In desperation, he even brought up the so-called rebirth. I quickly pulled the chief aside and whispered, I think Ethan's gone mad. He's talking about strange, superstitious things. If anyone hears that kind of talk, it could ruin the reputation of the entire village. That got the chief's attention. His expression turned deadly serious. In the end, Ethan was exiled to the Northwest. As for Linda Yates, gone was the lovesick girl who defended him no matter what. She divorced him immediately and before he left, gave him a beating so bad that he still hadn't recovered by the time they escorted him out. He limped the entire way onto the transport truck. It was a pathetic sight. As for Lena Jiang, her family was disgusted by the scandal and refused to take her back. She'd had a miscarriage, and her body never fully recovered. They ended up dumping her at Ethan's house like garbage.